as Rachel Zegler, being Meghan Markle.
If you hate Rachel Zegler, and you don't know why, or you don't have a good reason why,
Young woman is made a princess, but does not look or behave, so is banished from the kingdom.
and for that matter, if you hate Meghan Markle, and you don't have a good reason why, I know why.
The footage hit the internet like a shockwave, grainy, low res, and barely a few seconds long. But that was all it needed, because what it appeared to capture was something no one saw coming. Two of the most polarizing figures in pop culture, Rachel Zegler and Meghan Markle, seated side by side at an exclusive rooftop bar in downtown Los Angeles.
But I actually think that you can't really recover from a year like this. I don't know where they're going to go. They haven't really set out anything that they're going to do. But yet,
because they don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got no idea.
Yeah, and we see them spending more and more time apart. They still kind of haven't really been seen together. And we see that the brand is crumbling. And we see that they haven't been able to actually understand who they are as a couple.
The clip exploded online, blurry, low quality, and just a few seconds long. But that was enough, because what it seemed to reveal stopped everyone in their tracks. Rachel Zegler and Meghan Markle, two of pop culture's most divisive women, sitting together at a secluded rooftop bar in the heart of downtown Los Angeles.
It's all about the femmes.
It's all about the femmes for me. Yo, this is funny. I feel like a lot of times it moves slower because nobody wants to initiate and make that first move. And it's like, fine, I'll do it.
How do you decide?
Yeah.
How does that work? You guys just sit there? And you just sit there?
Yeah, we're just like, no, someone has to be like, I'm going to be the person to take charge.
Rumors swirled that Meghan reached for Rachel's hand and didn't let go. Before anyone could even verify if the footage was legit, hashtags were already trending. Zeg Markle Hollywood new power couple. This can't be real, but here's the twist: it might actually be real. Because when you look closer at the timing, the setting, and the chaos unfolding in both their lives lately, this isn't just bizarre. It actually starts to make sense.
Why can't you just choose to be normal? Why can't you just be normal? Why are you choosing to be gay? And my suggestion to everybody who's ever faced with something like this is asking the person the real question. Why do you want me to choose between happiness, joy, and having potential at a fulfilling life?
It's bold, it's calculated, and depending on who you ask, it might be the biggest PR disaster or the wildest love story Hollywood has seen in years.
Yes, social media is a environment that I think has a lot of that. It's really interesting as I can reflect on it. I keep my distance from it right now just for my own well-being, but the bulk of the and abuse that I was experiencing, and you just think about that, and you to really wrap your head around why people would be so hateful. It's not catty, it's cruel. Why you would do that? And I think, you could either succumb to it or nearly succumb to how painful that is.
The original clip that started it all was just 10 seconds long, filmed by a fan who said they were working at the rooftop venue. The video shows two women sitting in a secluded corner, partly hidden by hanging ivy and soft string lights, but no one was paying attention to the decor. All eyes were on the unmistakable profiles and what came next.
And this archaic system has tried to control her and say, you will do this, you will do that, you will not go here, you will not go there. And she's just said, no, I'm not going to live like that. And I think that's why the issue was, because Meghan would not conform to the rules of the royal household, and she wanted to actually have a life. Then that's where the problem started.
One of them was clearly Rachel Zegler, wearing a loose vintage-style blouse and her signature slicked-back hair. The other had on a muted trench coat with minimal makeup, but a jawline so distinct that employees and fans alike were certain it could only be Meghan Markle.
Have it come out?
Feels wonderful.
Feels wonderful. What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the... All right. Congrats, Rachel. Good luck.
They weren't just eating, they weren't just talking, they were fully locked and leaning close, laughing a little too hard. And according to some viewers, Meghan gently brushed her hand over Rachel's wrist while reaching for her wine glass. That small gesture alone set off a storm online. Some called it a clear romantic signal, others said it was harmless and friendly, but as more people began screen recording the clip before it suddenly vanished, it only added more fuel to the fire. And then came the photos. Blurry but real 3 still shots were shared anonymously on the celebrity gossip forum showing Meghan and Rachel leaving the venue not separately but together. The uploader claimed they waited about 10 minutes after dinner before quietly slipping out the back trying to avoid attention, but they missed one detail: a rideshare driver parked across the street who recognized them right away, and that is when the story truly exploded.
We also forget that we don't know this person. You just had the most magical first date in the world and you think so much of this person and this could be it. And you've literally spent 2 hours with someone. You have no idea who they are. You don't know who they are when someone in your family gets sick. You don't know who they are when you show something that you're shameful about, that you think someone's going to reject you for. You don't know. Like, you just don't know. Character can only be measured as the average of someone's actions over time. It cannot be gleaned from a couple of hours with someone.
What began as an unexpectedly cozy dinner between 2 media magnates quickly turned into what many were calling a romantic outing, one that had everyone asking the same question: what exactly is going on between Rachel Zegler and Meghan Markle? But even that was not the strangest part.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the public narrative, because when you sign up to be an actress, you know that people are going to start recognizing you, they're going to start speaking to you on the street, but that's very different from what you have now.
It is, Emma.
It's very different. No. I wonder, and listen, I want to say this to you in the best way, because I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch. Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
To understand why this moment is spreading online like gasoline on a wildfire, you have to look at who these 2 women really are and what has been happening behind the scenes. Rachel Zegler has spent the past year watching her reputation unravel. What started as a bright breakout in West Side Story took a sharp turn when she made viral comments calling the original Snow White outdated and weird.
People are really mad at Rachel Zegler because of the actors and writers strikes that are happening in Hollywood. She just did an interview where she demanded to have her salary increase.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
But considering she's making millions of dollars playing the role of Snow White, many became infuriated by her comments, saying sarcastic things like she has the perfect attitude for a Disney princess and she seems like a ball of sunshine.
Yeah, this girl doesn't really help the movie. The more she speaks, the less people want to watch it. And users in the comments didn't hold back. She's paid for a movie nobody asked for and still nobody wants. Yep. And another one, bro, she just blew up. Can she chill? She's been in like 3 movies. Exactly.
What started as an oddly cozy dinner between 2 media magnates turned into what many believed was a romantic outing, one that had everyone asking the same question: what exactly is going on between Rachel Zegler and Meghan Markle? But that was not even the strangest part. To understand why this moment is hitting the internet like gasoline on a wildfire, you need to look at who these 2 women really are and what has been happening behind the scenes. Rachel Zegler has spent the last year watching her reputation spiral. What began as a promising breakout in West Side Story quickly turned sour after she made viral comments calling the original Snow White outdated and weird. The internet did not just disagree, it clapped back hard. Then came the Avida disaster walkouts, refunds, accusations of performative activism, and shallow identity politics. She went from rising star to headline scapegoat almost overnight, and her attempts to explain or push back only made things worse. Public opinion shifted. She was no longer seen as the bold voice of a new generation. She was labeled cringe, a tryhard, the face of what critics now call fake feminism in Hollywood. Now enter Meghan Markle, a woman who practically built her brand on turning controversy into spotlight. Since stepping back from royal life, she has positioned herself as a misunderstood figure. Some see her as a survivor of a ruthless system, others view her as a master manipulator, someone constantly reshaping her image to stay in the headlines. From the famous interview to the failed podcast deal to the mysteriously cancelled cartoon, Meghan's story has been one long roller coaster of image rehab, most of which has backfired. So what happens when you bring both of them together? Two women accused of being performative who sparked backlash the moment they trend. Two stories of public fall from grace, now seated side by side over wine as if none of it ever happened. Some fans said it was romantic, others called it a public relations disaster, but everyone agreed on one thing: this did not feel random. Once the video hit online, it took no time for theories to explode. Fan accounts broke down every second of the clip, pausing to highlight lingering eye contact, synchronized gestures, and what one viral post called obvious romantic chemistry. And it did not stop there. Within hours, someone claiming to be a Hollywood assistant posted a thread online alleging that Meghan and Rachel had been in contact for months, and this was not their first meeting. The post referenced whispers of late-night calls, shared consultants, and even a quiet weekend in Napa earlier in the year. Nothing was confirmed, but it did not matter. The internet was hooked. Soon screenshots of alleged messages began to spread. One viral image showed what looked like a flirty exchange, with Meghan reacting to one of Rachel's stories with a heart emoji and Rachel replying with a playful response. Critics called the messages fake, pointing out mismatched fonts and usernames, but it was already too late. The spark had caught. What made everything messier was how fast the rumor picked up. Some channels claimed Rachel's bad press had pushed her toward Meghan, who had become a magnet for celebrities trying to rebrand. Others flipped the theory, suggesting Meghan was using Rachel to connect with a younger, bolder audience. Together, they could rewrite their image to misunderstood women who just wanted to speak up but kept getting burned for it. Then came the final match, a resurfaced interview clip from 2022 where Rachel casually praised Meghan for standing up to powerful institutions. A moment that most viewers had skipped over was now being rewatched through a completely different lens. Was it admiration? Was it flirtation? Or was it the first public hint of something deeper? Whatever the case, one thing was clear: this was no longer just about a dinner, it was about two women, a storm of speculation, and a narrative the internet could not let go. But the theories that followed made everything else look tame. By the end of 2 days, what started as a whisper of romance turned into a full-blown online obsession. Fans began building timelines comparing Rachel's travel posts to Meghan's rare appearances. Creators posted deep dive videos with arrows, music, and breakdowns trying to prove the two had been secretly seeing each other for months. Then the theories went even further. One thread claimed they were filming a Netflix documentary about forbidden love in the spotlight. Another said it was all a soft launch for Meghan's rumored new podcast focused on cancelled women, with Rachel as the first guest and maybe more. But the wildest theory came from a now deleted post claiming Meghan's team had staged everything to absorb Rachel's controversy and redirect attention away from her own struggling projects. In this version, Rachel was not her partner but her cover, an emotional shield to make Meghan relatable. Again, it was bold, it was manipulative, and for half the internet it was totally believable. Others rejected the PR angle and leaned into the romance. Edits flooded social media with soft music, captions about chaos, and peace. Fan art of the two women holding hands or walking through gardens. TikTok creators cried joyful tears, calling it a queer redemption arc the world never expected. They saw the story not as a scandal but as a revolution, to women torn down by the media finding something beautiful in each other. For them, the backlash did not matter. The love story, real or not, had power. But then came the backlash. The other side was angry and loud. This group called the entire situation a desperate stunt, the most annoying couple the internet had ever imagined. Some mocked it as a crossover no one asked for. Others accused both women of hiding behind identity and victimhood to avoid real criticism. Conservative voices jumped in, claiming the whole thing was proof that celebrity Culture had gone off the rails. One blog called it the peak of woke delusion, another called them PR soulmates. A wave of memes and angry posts followed. In the middle were people unsure what to think. Some wanted answers, some just wanted the drama to keep going. But through all the noise, one thing stood out. Neither Rachel nor Meghan said a word. Their silence said more than any statement could. Meghan posted a quiet photo of her garden. Rachel liked a vague tweet about not needing to explain yourself. That was all, and for the internet that was enough. Reports claimed Rachel's team was worried about how fast things were spinning out of control. Some sources said she was told to stay quiet and wait it out. Others said Meghan's team was enjoying the chaos, seeing it as a return to relevance. Behind the scenes, rumors said studios were watching carefully. This kind of attention could sell tickets or destroy careers. It was no longer about love, it was about image, about control. And both women seemed in no rush to steer the story back. Some said the silence was part of a long-term strategy, let the internet burn itself out. Others believed things had spiraled too far and now no one could stop it. Still, the question remained: was this a real moment between two women, or the most carefully designed distraction the internet had ever seen? Because all it took was one short video, a few blurry photos, and a moment at a rooftop table to set everything in motion. And the truth, it still has not come out. No confirmation, no denial, no emoji-filled posts or interviews, nothing but silence. And maybe that is what keeps the story alive, because if it was just dinner, why sneak out the back? Why go to a place known for privacy? Why stay quiet if there is nothing to hide? Maybe it really was nothing. Maybe they are just two people caught in the storm of an overactive internet that sees stories where there are none. But if that is true, why does it feel like something more? Because timing matters, and right now both Meghan and Rachel were at a low point in their public image. Then suddenly they appeared calm, confident, close, as if they had nothing to prove. Whether it was love strategy or total coincidence, one thing is certain: the world noticed, and it cannot look away.